You podcast. Today we've got a really special guest. Excited to have him on, Mike Giesick. How are you, Mike?
I am doing great, Frank. It's great to see you on the podcast.
Okay, already I got the audio. What the hell's up with this audio thing? Okay, hold on. What the
You've got
fuck?
audio
Okay,
or you don't have audio.
let's see. No, your audio is like in and out. I don't know. Go to okay, echo cancellation, noise show advanced. I don't know what could possibly be going on. What do you have checked? Go to audio in the settings of Restream. Because when you go in and out, when you go back and forth, it's definitely not a hardware issue. Just so you know, there's absolutely no chance this is a hardware issue on your end. So something with the way it's interacting with
You've got
Restream.
noise suppression. I could turn that off because that shouldn't be necessary.
What is it?
Ventilation, I should be able to turn that off. I don't know why those are even turned on. Audio control, I don't need any of this stuff turned on. So how about if I turn all this stuff off in your system and see if that just fixes it? Because I don't need any of that. The microphone has all that stuff built in. So let's try that and see if that gets rid of it. Because there was noise suppression. There's all sorts of stuff turned on, like little switches.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got all mine on though. See, now you sound good. So, I don't know.
Well, I turned them off, so maybe it sounds better with them off.
All right, here we go. So we're gonna start back on. Here we go. All right, welcome back to another episode of the Drive View podcast. Welcome back to another episode of the Drive View podcast, where the automotive industry comes to stay ahead of the curve. Today, we've got a really special guest, and that is Mike Giesick. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing great, Frankie. It's great to see you on here. I've been watching a lot of your podcasts, and I'm excited to be a part of it one time.
That's awesome, man. And you know, Mike, you come from My Dealer Academy, but you also are very involved with the Eck Automotive Group in the Midwest. I know that, you know, one of the things that excited me about having you on the show was to talk specifically about just some of the why behind your sales processes and things of that nature. As you know, that's a big part of my journey, has been going deeper and deeper into what makes things tick and understanding the motivation and the inspiration behind a lot of the stuff that we do. And I know that, you know, there's a lot of people out there, dealerships, especially people that are watching this, and they're in a lot of the kind of feeling mundane, especially around sales and things like that. What is it that you really focus on to inspire sales operations, especially the ones that you work closely with, to really go deeper and go to the next level with what they're doing is from a sales process?
You know, I joke around a lot of times. I think anybody that's been in the auto industry for any lengthy time, they know that most dealerships, hopefully most dealerships, have that guy or that gal. It's the person in the dealership that runs the CRM. They're the ones that kind of the go-to person. They're the person that handles the internet leads. They handle vendors. They handle the marketing a lot of times. A buddy of mine, Joe Webb, he's got a video on there, the de-evolution of an internet manager. It's a great video. Everybody should see it.
Interesting.
It's on YouTube. But everybody has that guy at the dealership. And for lack of a better term, I'm that guy. I'm one of those guys. I write all the reports for dealerships, and so
building the processes inside of the CRM, all that kind of fun stuff. Yeah, love
the
it.
CRM, you know, right now I'm currently using Vin Solutions.
Okay.
My entire life, though, ultimately I'm a salesman. Right now my product is cars. I've sold other things, and you know, you take me out of this and put me in a different thing, and I'm going to sell that. Right now, my current product, or my current thing, is the CRM. My CRM is Vin Solutions. I've used Dealer Socket. I've used eLeads. I've used a lot of different ones. I love Vin Solutions. That's what I use. But I'm one of those guys that deep dives every vendor that I have. I get in the weeds with the vendors. I sometimes, for lack of things, I actually tell my vendors, hey, your product isn't that great. I got some things I don't like about it. And I actually work with them, and we either fix things or they educate me better, and I become a power user of those things. So processes are really big for me. And so that's what I do. And that's what My Dealer Academy has been about, is I'm developing this company to work with internet managers, BDC managers, trainers across the country. And we're having our own podcast to where we're actually going to tackle some of these things that we have figured it out. You know, most of those people that are hired, they don't know how to be an internet manager. Usually they were a top salesperson. Somebody promoted them into a job they weren't really qualified for, and they had to figure it out. That's what we've done. There's guys like you. You've done some great things in life. Matter of fact, I actually have your book right here, and I
Okay.
am excited to meet you in person and get you to sign my book someday. But, you know, I've seen a lot of your guests. They've written books. They've done most people that become an internet manager, a BDC manager, or even a sales manager. Those guys haven't actually figured it out yet. They're kind of
Yeah,
thrust into a job and they have to figure it out. So my goal with my dealer academy is kind of bring people together,
I
do a
like it.
podcast of people that have figured it out or figured out part of it. And we're going to do it and we're going to break down some of those subjects and we're going to build a place that we can build this information together and kind of figure it out together. And that's what my dealer academy is about. It's about breaking down those processes.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I love what you had said about like no matter where you put you, there's a certain thing about the psychological aspects of sales processes and things like that that you could take your process, your why process that you've created, and really put it into really any different setting, right? No matter what the product is, it's about figuring out, the why. And just so remind me again, because one of the things that for those of you who don't know, Mike and I met because he became a user of our CXM. And so when he talks about how, like when he tells people that, that your product's not as good as it could be, but I can help. I was one of those people, so and it's been really a cool journey to see, to have people that are really inside the business. And I've always been passionate about that aspect of it. But, Mike, tell us real quick before we dive into what I really wanted to talk about today, which is obviously how Chat GPT can be used in a sales process, which I think there's a lot of dealerships right now kind of wondering what the heck is Chat GPT? What do I do with it? Is it, what does this mean? Are the robots going to replace us? But remind me again, what does your Y acronym stand for?
So when it comes to why, there was a national trainer, David Kane. He had actually got me to start focusing on the 2 minute, and that's where it all started. The 2 minute was slow down and figure out what the lead's about. Where did the lead come from? Because that really dictates how you're
Is
going to
that
go
you talking
forward.
about from Kane Automotive?
Kane Automotive, yeah,
Okay,
he's a
cool.
great
Yeah, that's
guy.
awesome. So he
And
was one of your mentors.
he was definitely one of my early mentors. And back in probably 2014, when he was talking to me about some of that stuff, it really stuck with me. And then going forward, what I decided was when these leads come in, you had to really start focusing on more than just that 2 minute. It really fell into the why. The
Hmm.
why stands for, it's like an acronym. W, where did the lead come from? What did they want? That's the top part of the W. So actually, when our leads come in, we actually take the time to put in Vin Solutions. You have a notes part at the top. It actually says WHY. And on the W, they put on that top line where the lead came from, what the person wanted. Under the H, how do they want to buy?
Hmm.
How's their credit look? If they've got a mid 600 credit score,
Now, when you say
what do
how do
they
they
want
want
to
to
buy?
buy, what do you mean? How do they want to buy? Like, do they want to buy
Like they want to
digitally or
lease?
they want to go in
Did
person?
they want to
Okay,
finance?
okay,
How do they
more
want to buy? Because a
cash,
lot of times the
finance, lease
leads
is what you
from
mean by
different
how.
lead
Okay,
sources tell you what the person wants. With digital retailing, we really have a lot of insight about the buyer before we even
yeah.
get a chance to meet them. And then why is probably the most important part, and that's your next step. As a
Hmm.
sales professional, you know more than the CRM. It's
Yeah.
garbage in, garbage out. If you don't program your CRM to say, hey, CRM, this is what I want to do next, it doesn't do any good to have all this information in there and then you don't tell it when you need to call the person back. Because if your CRM is giving you 1,500 tasks to do, and those
Hmm.
tasks you're going, oh, I don't need to call this person, that means you put them in the wrong process. And if you don't
Ah,
have good processes as a
so
dealership,
your next step is actually an input they put. It's not just a note. That's going to be some sort of input into your CRM.
they match. Your
Yeah.
next step should match the process the person's in. But then it's also a communication back to your business development center, and your business development center's message back to the salesperson and to the manager. Everybody that touches that should be updating that note. It's a synopsis at the top. Yes, all the important notes should be in the call notes and all those kind of things. But at least in Vin Solutions and many of them, that top note should always be where you're currently at. It's the synopsis of where you're at in that lead. And I think that's one of the most important things. When you're making 100 calls a day, only 20, maybe 25 people are going to answer. If you spend 5 minutes reading the notes on every single one of those, how many calls can you actually make, Frankie? You
Yeah.
waste a lot of time. Do we need to read
A
leads
lot
all
of
day
time.
long? No. We need to make calls. As soon as that you have a chance, you make that phone call. 80 of them aren't going to answer. If you take 80 times 5 minutes, you burn through your entire day just reading. None of us get paid to read, right? We're all on
Hmm.
commission. So you have to be able to look at that 2 minute note that's at the top, move through those calls as fast as you can. And that's what 2 minutes really about, is making sure that your notes are up to date at all times so that you can get through that process.
I love it. One of the things that I think is exciting right now is just the way that we can use technology to really come together and help us interact and utilize it in a fast way, right? And as things are coming out, what are ways that we can stay ahead? And one of the things that keeps coming up is this Chat GPT, right? So, I was expecting us to actually have a chat today, no pun intended, on the chat piece, but specifically around, what's going on with your processes and all that. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of randomly asked Mike, what do you think about this Chat GPT? And I didn't know if he had heard of it yet, but he was already using it. So, Mike, what is your take on this whole Chat GPT? Does it scare you? Does it excite you? Does it make you sad that humans are going to lose their jobs? What's going on for you?
I remember when we were talking on the phone about that, and as soon as you said it to me, I think I lit up like a little kid, and I just started like vomiting all this stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, have you seen it? Have you tried
Right.
this? And you're like, I guess you've heard of it. And I'm like, yes, I've heard of it, and I've been playing with it. My marketing team out of LA, I was talking to them during one of our meetings every Monday, and
Okay.
Tim had said to me, hey, have you heard of this Chat GPT? And I said, no. He goes, it's a new thing going on. You
But
might
how
want
long
to
ago
check
was
it
that,
out.
by the way? Like how many weeks?
4 weeks ago.
Okay.
4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And as soon as he got done, I logged in and I was hooked. I'm like, this is awesome. Now, I will be honest with you. Since that time, I've watched a lot of videos. I've done a lot of research. It is way above my head. There are so many things that people can do that I have no idea about. But some
Yeah.
of the
The
very
way it all plays
simplistic
together.
things,
Hmm.
oh my gosh,
Oh,
the
we're still looking
simplistic
at it in a
things that we
basic
can do
way.
as a dealership are
Hmm.
amazing.
Yeah, basically, when you look at ChatGPT, you're hearing all this stuff like this is the biggest thing since the iPhone came out, or when they first Netscape made the first internet browser. And if you think
Right.
back then, when internet first came out, for a long time, we're like, oh, we can send an email instead of like mailing something in the mail, and we can do a chat. We didn't really understand much of it. The search engines weren't fully developed, so we didn't understand what we were supposed to do with it, right? And so I think that's what's happening with ChatGPT. We're like, oh my God, it's amazing. I can write a story for my kid in 5 seconds, or it can help me with certain things. And so we're just now beginning to get a grasp of what it can do. But when you think about the iPhone, when it first came out, it was like, well, I've already got a phone on my desk and I've already got a computer. Like, why do I need it to do all this stuff, right? And now it's everything, right? And so I think ChatGPT is going to be
It's true.
similar, but we're going to get there faster than we did with both the obviously internet browser and even the iPhone. The iPhone, we got there faster than the internet browser as far as like all of us kind of catching up to it. But
Right.
the
And
massive,
the
yeah,
truth
go ahead.
is, a lot of people, they may never figure this thing out, and they don't have to. I mean,
No,
you were just talking about it. An internet browser, a Google search.
right. We
All of
didn't
us
need,
think we figured it out, but most people, they don't even know about a Google search. There is so many little buttons that you can add into your Google search to really truly refine a Google search. Most people don't know how to use a
no,
Google search to its fullest capabilities.
right.
They just kind of do it. Most people don't know how to use a phone to its fullest capabilities. Same thing with this Chat GPT. There's already people that are actually selling ideas on Chat GPT and businesses based on Chat GPT. It's ridiculous. But within the dealership, I don't know how much you
You
played
say
with it, but I've
selling
actually
to
done some
like
things within
private
the dealership
equity,
that can help.
like you're saying selling like businesses that haven't even got revenue are selling
100%.
just based on the ideas.
Just based on the
Hmm.
ideas
That
and
that
what
does
can
not
happen
surprise
with
me.
ChatGPT.
Yep. No,
Yeah.
right now that's what I'm super excited about and why I wanted to talk about it here today. So I want to just dive right in. Like, what are some of the things that if I'm a dealer, I'm watching this or I'm listening, what's something I can do today that you've found, with your processes and how you've been able to marry what you've learned, with all the different automotive groups you've worked with, now My Dealer Academy and Chat GPT. Give us something that we can take away today.
All right. So one thing that I did, I just wanted to find out what it would do. And if you haven't gone to ChatGPT, it's through a company called OpenAI. So if you go into Google and search for OpenAI, it's going to get you through the front door. Now, with OpenAI, you have to create an account. It's free right now. Now there's so many tokens that you can use, and
Yeah.
a token is about a
Oh, is that
thousand
what you were telling
words.
me about earlier, where it actually that once your tokens are used up, they're going to ask you to put in a credit card? Is that what's about to happen?
Correct. It, like, for
Interesting.
example, when I was looking at it earlier, I think it said like this paragraph is this many. So it's doing some calculations, and for like 1,000 tokens, it was 0.0004. So it takes a while to actually rack up to actually be in any type of money. But you have to keep in mind the words, like 750 words, go by really fast. For example, I actually told it to write. I right now I represent several stores, but the main store I represent is a Kia store. So at my Kia store, I told it to write an entire paper on the Kia Sportage. And
Okay.
it literally went through and wrote an entire paper on a Kia Sportage. And then when I was done with that, like I've got one up on the screen. When I was
Yeah,
done
show
with
me
it,
that. I'm gonna go big screen with you on this. I want you
okay,
to
let
why
me
don't you
pop,
show us
pop it
kind
up
of
on
what
the
you've been
screen.
working on. Okay.
So I pulled it up and I said, like this particular one, I said write a web page on Kia's lineup of hybrid electric vehicles. So I
Okay,
had him write
now
that.
Mike, it did Mike, it did it again. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna have you back up and you're gonna
Okay.
talk through it. We're gonna do the screen share and post. So
Okay.
go back full screen, toggle your deal, and I'm gonna drop it in. I'm just gonna go full screen when we talk about it. Okay. Um, so I don't know where the hell we just ended, but I'm gonna cue you up by saying, why don't you show us some of the stuff you've been working on with your screen, and then just
Okay.
talk like you're going full screen, but you're not. But
Actually, the last word you said was pull it up.
all right, pull it up before you did it. Okay.
That's what
Why
you said.
don't
Yeah.
you pull it up? So, but go ahead and turn off your audio, turn it back on, because whatever it is that's happening, it's related to when you change your input.
Interesting.
Yeah, whatever it is, I don't know what it is. We'll get down to the bottom of it later. But everything's been great so far, so this is good.
But now I got to get back up to here, or not
No,
yet.
no, you don't even have to. You're not going to show us the screen at all for this recording. I'm not going to use
Okay.
any of your screen for the recording. What's going to happen is you're going to send me a screen recording.
Okay.
Of whatever you want. If you
Perfect.
want to screen capture right now, that's fine. But
All right. Perfect.
okay, go to your camera audio, then go back to your mic, and let's see if it fixes it.
All right. Let's go do that. Let's go here. Let's see audio.
But so far, so good. I'm liking it. This is something. This is the type of episode I think dealerships really will appreciate. You know, it's actually really harder than you think to get freaking people from a dealership to come on a podcast.
All right. So we're back.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, I'm getting ready to find out, I guess.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. So, Mike, why don't you pull up some of the stuff you've been working on so we can see. I'm going to make you yours full screen so we can check it out.
All right, let's take a look at it. So here's like an example of what I was doing. So I jumped on there. I put write a web page on Kia's lineup of hybrid electric vehicles.
Okay.
And so it started writing the entire thing. And after it got it done, I noticed that it didn't have everything there. So then I thought maybe I'll change the words. So I put write a web page on Kia's 2023 lineup of HEV and PHEV hybrid plug-in and hybrid electric vehicles. And the next thing you know, it wrote everything, and it became paragraph after paragraph after paragraph. It
Wow.
was quite a bit of information, and I was really surprised.
And that's because you got more specific with like the model as well. Do you think it helped that you said write a web page?
Well, that's what made it longer. That's what made it longer.
Interesting.
But so you really can edit everything. And then I thought, you know what? I wonder if I can do this for the Sportage, because I do have quite a bit of Sportages coming in, and I was going to be doing some redesign on my site. So then I told it, write a web page about a 2023 Sportage. So after I finished the web page and it got there, then I said, create a short SMS using information for an internet lead for Midwest Kia. And it did it. It said, check out the new 2023 Kia Sportage at Midwest Kia. Sleek design, advanced technology, and efficient powertrain. Test drive one today and experience the perfect blend of style and performance. Call now to schedule a test drive, Midwest Kia. And I was like, wow, it wrote that on its own. And then I thought, I wonder if I can have it do another one. So I kept going through these different iterations. Okay. And then I thought to myself, also, and this is all I added. Now remember, it's building upon this. I said, also ask them to look at our inventory at midwestkia.com. And it wrote a new one. Thanks for your interest in the 2023 Kia Sportage. We're excited to show you the sleek design, advanced technology, and efficient powertrain in person. Before you come to make sure check out our inventory at www.midwestkia.com. We're available to schedule your test drive at your convenience. Let us know what works best for you. Signed, Midwest Kia. And I was like, wow, I wonder if I could go one step further. And then I told it our address. I gave it. So as I kept doing this, it just kept developing more. And I said, write an email, short response to an internet lead, include the dealership name, address, and phone number. And I was talking to my guy out in LA, and he said there's a dealership out there in California. He said none of my guys respond to any of their emails anymore. Every single email, they go to ChatGPT and they build all of them out of there because they write them better than my guys because they're always messing up with spelling. And this is just a better way to do it. So everybody
so
in
when
that
they're
dealership's
so what do
using
they do? They
ChatGPT.
say write a response to someone who, like, how much of the input do they put in from the customer? Do they copy and paste it from the customer to see what writes back, or?
Well, technically, you can have a notepad off to the side on your desktop
Okay.
with all the basic information in there. And then all you have to do is drop in the name. Like, for example, write a short email response to an internet lead on a 2023, whatever car it is. Just drop that in there, include the dealership name, the address, and write the website and use this phone number. And it will actually build the entire thing for you right on the spot. And then right after you're done, you can, after that, I said also add information on the Kia warranty for a new car. And then it added an entire paragraph. It knew what the warranty was. It did not only the 10-year 100,000, but the 5-year 60,000, and it threw in the roadside assistance for me. This ChatGPT knew all the information, and I was surprised. Then I went forward and I said, write the same email, but for a K5. And it flipped the entire thing, changed all the words, and wrote one for a K5. It really blew my mind how progressive it was because it kept all the information that I'd previously talked, just like you and I would if we were having a conversation. It actually kept all of it. And then later I said, turn this into an SMS. Then I said, make a Facebook post on the Kia Sportage. Then I said, write a script for a podcast. And it did that. It started just doing these different things for me left and right.
Wow.
And I was just blown away. It just
Now your
kept
marketing
doing it.
company. Okay, I have to ask because I owned an ad agency forever, and I basically was like just tired of dealing with it, especially because now you can make content with Canva and all these different things, and it's just now you got ChatGPT. So your marketing company turned this on to you. Were you paying that marketing company for copywriting, like to do copywriting, editing, and things like that, or no?
They actually don't do any copywriting. I
Okay,
write
good,
a
'cause
lot
I
of
was-
stuff, but
I
they
would
do
hope-
do their own. They do
would-
their own, like my Google ads and all that kind of stuff. They do write all those themselves. Who knows? Maybe they're using it now.
Well, they must be doing. If he told you about it, that makes me think like he's not too worried. He couldn't have possibly been writing your radio ads or anything like that if he told you about it.
And they,
ChatGPT.
you know what? That is the truth. They do not write my radio ads.
Yeah.
I do have a different ad agency that writes my radio ads. I write my radio ads because
You noticed they didn't tell you
like I
about
said, I'm
ChatGPT.
that guy. I actually write my radio ads for the radio. I actually do the voice. I'm in the
That
radio
doesn't
ads for our
surprise me.
local dealerships. So that's one of the
Yeah.
things I do. But I will tell you, I've actually got a screen on here. I did tell it to write a 30-second radio spot for me. When I was writing my script for this month, I said, write a 30-second radio spot for me. And then I said, now write a 60-second. And it actually wrote 2 scripts for me. And I just tried that out about 2 weeks ago.
Oh my goodness. Okay, now I'm curious, right? Because my first kind of technology endeavors 10 years ago were a lot of it was based around search, right? And then it's evolved into this whole CXM that harnesses search. You said they're writing your search ads. So you're still having people write your search ads as opposed to that being more automated through your inventory and pricing and all the stuff that you have already created on your website?
No, they do both. So
Okay.
there is a lot of dynamic ads that are actually done. There are some people involved in some of them, but there are a lot of dynamic ads that are done.
Okay, good. Yeah, I was like,
Very,
wait.
a lot of VIN specific dynamic ads. But you have to keep in mind, there are a lot of those I've changed because when you get inventory light, there was a time
That's
where
right.
I told them, I said, I don't want to do dynamic ads
Right.
based on VINs because I was sending people to pages for cars that didn't exist. So I
Absolutely.
actually started building landing pages for the cars and saying, is somebody looking for an SUV? and instead dumping them to an SUV landing page and not just to the Sportage, because there may be no
You didn't have a
Sportages in
choice.
that week.
Yeah. When my experience would be, you've always got to be able to make it flexible in a hybrid. Like, so what I always wanted to do, and this is why I designed the architecture with ours the way we did, was because I knew that certain people, certain aspects, maybe certain lines of it needed to be more like brand specific or more catered to whatever your your hook is, but not specifically to the inventory, but maybe the second, third line or an extension could be more dynamic, and making that flexible where you've got the best of both worlds. So that I was just curious about that, because I'm always like, wait a second, there's no way you're not using dynamic. But it's
Yeah.
interesting how it comes full circle, right? Because like now there's certain there's a value right now, because of the way the industry has changed, where you have to be flexible and create a hybrid between the brand message and the specific kind of hook that of why buy at your dealership, right, versus somebody else, and marrying that along with what they really want, which is inventory at a great deal and whatnot. But
Well,
sometimes you just don't
and
have those things.
every salesperson has to deal with what's called buyer's remorse. Well, how's buyer's remorse work when 75% of your 90-day inventory is sold before the car ever gets here,
Right.
and you've got all these
Exactly.
cars that are sold that aren't going to be here for 6 months, and the person signs the paper to order it, and now they have to wait 6 months. So you really are doing your best to pre-sell inventory, and so you just have to do your best to offer a great relationship and service with that customer.
Yeah.
And I've had to redo how we sell cars.
a
We've
hundred
had to build
percent.
spreadsheets to keep track of the customers, and I've built a website so the customers can see their car order over the year that it takes, so they can see the status of it. And while their cars are coming in, they've got a website now, they can see the car on its trip coming to the dealership, because I honestly, I don't have the time to have 275 customers calling me saying, "Hey, do you have an update on my car?" So they can actually go to a website now and actually see that car's journey coming to the store, and the
Okay,
ETA keeps
interesting.
moving
Wait,
back
wait,
and
wait, wait,
forth.
wait. So you basically just created that, or is there a vendor you found that does that?
No, I
You had to
made
create
it
it. It doesn't even have
myself.
it yet. So that's man, I am so curious. So basically, you just do inputs on it as you get updates. Someone goes in and inputs it, and there's like a login. Is there a login process, or you just search by order number and name or something like that, and it just spits back the results?
Yeah, what I basically did is I built a website, and the customer, when they go on, it is nothing extraordinary,
Okay.
but I have an
Like I'm
assistant now that
envisioning
does
this
it.
like
But
Domino's or
she does a
something, like it's in
download
the
every
oven.
single day from Kia of
Okay.
all the cars that come in, and then it matches up back and forth. The Kia matches up to a spreadsheet that I've got built that has all of our orders on it, and
Okay.
that puts the ETAs on there. And the consumer, when they go to this website, it has the first letter of their last name, last
Okay.
four of their phone number, and they just track down to
Okay, gotcha, gotcha. So
M4475,
you're just
and that's their
showing
line.
the spreadsheet to them. They find it
Yep.
themselves. It's not like you can enter it in and kind of see the status bar and
Nope.
that
All they see is
your car is in
M4485. They see it's a
Iowa right now. Yeah.
2023 Kia Telluride, and here's the ETA. And a text message goes to them every 2 weeks with a link to it and reminds them that the car is on its way. They can feel free to
But
check
so
out the
that
ETA.
but even just that you found has really kind of like decreased all the like back and forth. That's awesome.
It's like it gave me my life back, literally. I mean, I've got
Wow.
a great
That's
relationship
a
with my
good tidbit,
customers,
man.
but I don't need to talk to 275 people every four
I,
or 5 days, and it's like watching water boil waiting 12 months for a Telluride to show up. So
I
it's
love it.
been the car business has evolved a lot, and I've only been in it for 11 years. I can't wait to see what it's like 11 years from now, God willing, that I'm still here.
Well, it's interesting that you said that, and I'm going to ask you one last question. Then I'm excited about our chat at NADA this week. But tell me this, leave us with you said 11 years, or did you say 10 years?
11. Well, I'm on my 11th year right now.
Oh, okay, okay. So I was like, why 11 years? So let's say 11 years from now. What do you think is going to be the biggest disruption in the automotive industry if you had to pick one thing? And there's so many things that are threatening to disrupt it, right? What's the first thing you go to?
All right. So I think we're already seeing it right now. This is just my opinion, but
Okay.
I think the OEMs are. I think we did proof of concept the last 3 years. In my opinion, the OEMs are going to find a way to give us courtesy deliveries. I feel like the OEMs are going to more and more, when they got the new models come out, they're going to try to find a way to say, first go to ABC OEM to buy this car, and then they try to get it to us as a courtesy delivery and have us do it. Because, a lot of these new models, when they come out, for example, the new Ford Lightning or whatever, when those
Okay.
cars come out,
Right. Yeah.
you can pre-order those things online now before it's ever even available to be ordered by the dealership, and then they set up a delivery with the dealership. I'm just afraid the manufacturer has realized that people will buy cars without ever test driving them,
Mm-hmm.
and they do it with Tesla, they do it with other brands, and that they're going to sell them direct to consumer, and they're going to try to get us to deliver them, and then
And you delivering them and getting some sort of small fee is how they're going to work around the state laws that they're
I'm afraid of
are
that.
protecting
I'm
you
afraid
now.
of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm afraid of
Yeah.
that. I mean, because proof of concept is there. How many people in the last 3 years, 2.5 years, have bought a car they never test drove?
Yeah. Look, I mean, I've done it. I did that with a
I
Land
sell them all the
Cruiser, and
time.
I'm about to do it again with a GMC Yukon. I bought a 2022, and that was a year ago. Already, my wife wants one with a different configuration because she wants a bench. Okay, right. So I thought this was interesting. I called the dealership, and they're like, "Well, just go build it on GMC.com and call us back."
Yep,
Is that's the way to do it? I mean, who's
that's
to
how
say
you
I'm
do
not
it now.
going to
You
just
call
build it and
me,
call somebody else?
tell me what you want. I go into my screen, I build the car for
No, no,
you.
no. He didn't build it for me. He just said the
No,
salesperson said you just
after
go
you tell
build
me
it.
what you want, I go into my back end
Okay, yeah,
screen, I
but you
build it
wouldn't
in the
just send me to
manufacturer.
GMC by myself and
Yep.
say, "Come back to me when you're done," would you?
Yeah.
You'd build it with me.
No, yeah. Well, honestly, a lot of customers, they kind of build it and they tell you exactly what they want, and then you go. It's just
So
crazy.
that's where the relationship really matters, because otherwise it'd be like, "Oh, well, I could just get anyone could deliver it at that point."
Yeah. You know what? I think a lot of it also depends on the rooftop that you're with. When you're with, like the rooftop I'm with right now, there is not another within my brand for
Yeah,
150 miles.
yeah.
So
So
I'm
that's
not
a different
scared to send
ball
somebody
game.
to the OEM
Yeah. No,
because they're
listen,
not going to go
in
150 miles
my
away.
market, there's at least 5 GMC Buick stores,
Oh
maybe
yeah, I
7.
would never do that. I would never do that. And I would never do it to
I
somebody
thought it
that
was
I
it
hadn't
was
already
very
built a
trusting, and it
relationship with.
wasn't like I called a salesperson. So I know like the guy who runs the dealer group, of course,
Right.
and then I didn't even, and I asked for the general manager or the sales manager of that rooftop within the group, and I got a salesperson. So like imagine that, and I didn't know the salesperson, and that all the way down that string, they were like, "Oh yeah, just go build one," and I thought that was interesting because I was like, "Okay, thanks for letting me know that," but
Oh yeah, and you could lose them in a heartbeat. When I was in San Diego at my store, I would have people drive 45 minutes, but in San Diego, how many stores do you pass? I was at a
in
Ford store in
between,
San
yeah,
Diego. How
like
many
what?
Ford stores do you think they passed to find me? I was at Mossy Ford in Pacific Beach. And if they're
Okay.
driving 45 minutes, how many Ford stores do they pass to come down there? And the funny thing was that guy, when I talked to him the first time, how many times have we said to somebody in the car business, they will drive extra just because they liked you? And
Mhm.
we say it all the time. This guy literally called me over and said, the only reason why I came here is because of you. I'm paying more, but it's because you were the one that I talked to on the phone. And I honestly believed that you were shooting me straight, and everybody else, I didn't trust him. And he
Yeah,
drove 45 minutes. I
that's
knew he
awesome.
passed a ton of car dealerships just to come see me.
What do you think it was that made him trust you? Was it just
I
basically
just honestly,
making it simple and
I
straightforward?
yeah, at my dealership, we created a slogan 3 years ago: simple, transparent, and fast. And I did not create that slogan as lip service. I really do
Right.
it. I'm the one in the dealership. Not only do I handle all the process and everything, I also handle all the escalations. And I joke around, the reason why I'm the one that does it is I'm just the one that people want to punch less, because I honestly give a crap. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
Frankie, I honestly care about the company
Mhm.
and the customers. I never want
Mhm.
to make my company look bad. I never want to make my customers feel bad. Sometimes the customer's not right. That's the truth. But sometimes the company's not right. And you want to make sure that everybody gets a fair shake. And I think that that attitude really reads through and bleeds through to the customers, and they know that I actually care.
I love
And
that.
so at
Yeah,
the
and
end of the day, I think that goes a long
and
way.
that makes sense, because I know just from when I've met you, like what's worked in the relationship is that the more you feel like it's like okay, this is what we're honest about, where we're at, and not trying to make it something that it's not. You can work with that. You know what I'm saying? You'd rather it be not as good, but transparent and honest, and then because you can work with that. And I think
Yeah.
deep down that's what everybody wants, and I think some salespeople are just scared to go there because they're like, well, if we're not perfect, what's going to happen, and are we going to get fired? Everything's about a transaction, and like, are they going to like us? And the fact is that if you're just authentic, and honest, and like you said, transparent and simple, then that always is going to come out, and it's always going to win over these other tactics.
How many times are people afraid to return a call because they know the person on the other side is upset or mad?
Right.
Not returning that call didn't make the case any better.
That's right.
Just own up to it, call the person back. That's why I just think notes are so important on the system, because if you ever have a bad interaction with a customer or a good interaction with a customer, put notes in there. Because I tell you what, there was a guy, the last thing I'll leave you, there was this guy named Walter Zitlow that worked with me at a Chevy store. And when he left, every kid that worked there was excited. Like, if this guy just leaves, I'm going to get all of his customers. I'm going to sell a ton of cars, because this guy sold over 20 cars a month.
Yeah. They just thought, get all his customers. I'm automatically, now I'm going to sell that many. Yep.
Exactly. He went to a GMC store and never skipped a beat. And this guy, he's one of those guys. He's that guy that doesn't care about the CRM. Everything he had was in a milk cart, a little milk crate on paper. He kept his pink sheets, right? And this guy sat at home every night. He ate his soup. He called his customers. He knew that John's wife, Betty, passed away 2 years ago. He knew their kids. He knew everything about the family.
Wow.
And this guy knew all of his customers. And it was all about relationships with him. And I'll share it with you sometime. I took his entire process in his head and in his milk crate, and I turned it into a piece of paper and built it into the CRM as an actual follow-up. And now my guys, if they want to, they just push a button, and after they sell a car, they print this out, and they've got his process, what this guy's done. But this guy left the dealership, went to another store, still sells 25 to 30 cars a month.
Wow.
And I think he's 86 years old. And he's one of the top salespeople I know.
Wow.
He's a great guy.
Wait. He's still rolling at 86 at the dealership?
Oh my gosh. This guy, he off the East Coast, he actually raced jet boats. I'm not talking regular boats. I'm talking jet boats that have like probably Elon Musk would race. I mean, this guy is amazing. And he is, all of his customers love him. And he switched over from a Chevy store to a Buick GMC store. Never skipped a beat. Still took all of his customers. His customers followed him.
Yeah,
because it was all about relationships. And he sold out of a milk crate, and he never had any problems. And so CRMs are great, but again, it's garbage in, garbage out. It's all about the relationships, like you just said. And this guy he's one of my heroes. And in the car business, these old school guys that he just knew what he was doing. He was keeping
and that
track
part
of his
doesn't change. The technology is supposed to just enhance that, make it more efficient. It's not supposed to replace it.
It doesn't. The human factor will never get out of sales.
It's a perfect way to close our ChatGPT.
Perfect for that.
That's right. Yeah, humans still have a role in all this. No matter how good the ChatGPT puts it out.
And that's coming out this next week. We'll be at NADA. I will see you in person. I'm going to have you sign your book when I see you.
Of course.
And so if anybody wants a chance to see Frankie, if this gets out there before NADA, Frankie, real quick, what's your booth? Do you know what your booth number is?
Good question. I think it's 6831. Let me double check so I don't mess this up. I always forget.
You get it out
I gotta
there.
look it up myself. Okay, let's see. Yep, 6831. And if you're looking to come by on Saturday, we're gonna have a happy hour bar, so that'll be the better day to come. So everybody will be pretty worn out by then, so you can just come hang out.
Awesome.
Good stuff. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah. I'm
always watching your podcast. I am a fan of both your Drive U and your product. I'm a customer, and
which we of course appreciate your business. And okay, so if people want to learn more about kind of what you're up to, they've heard something today that was interesting. I know I took a lot away from this, so this was great for me. So do they go to mydealeracademy.com? Is that the best place to kind of keep up with what you're up to and how they might be able to get involved if they want to take a look at maybe getting having you as somebody who can help them with their processes directly? Do you do that? Is that a thing?
You know what? I don't right now. What I'm trying to do with My Dealer Academy, I'm not trying to go to work for anybody else. All right. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to have some fun. I'm trying to find and reach out to
Love it.
other guys. I'm looking for that guy or that gal across the country that do what I do. And we're going to come up with topics that they want to do. We're going to have our own podcast, kind of like
Love
what
it.
you and I are doing.
So you're
We're going to
building
come
a
up with
community.
that's what we're doing. We're going to build a community.
I
I'm going to
love
build
it.
profile pages on
That's way
guys like
funner
you,
than building a business anyway.
successful authors, vendors. We're going to build profile pages on them that are going to be housed at our website. So if you want to find out about a product, you should be able to go to our website, find that product on there. Hopefully I'll have a podcast on that product, kind of explaining how myself and maybe somebody else that's used that product got to
Nice.
use that, had experiences with it. And then we're going to tackle some of these things, whether it's the walk around, once a week. I'm going to try to have top producer on there so they can talk about how they have kind of built their career. I'm going to try to once a month have a vendor on there that we're going to interview. And then once a week, I'm also going to be trying to talk to an internet manager or a BDC manager. And we're going to try to break down processes, break down the dealership for those that have figured it out to help those that are trying to figure it out. And we're just going to build a community. And then we're going to link those videos back to YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, whatever we can. And honestly, we're just going to figure it out, Frankie, as we go along. So it's
I
all
love
about
it.
community, and you actually did it. I started this in 2016. It's been sitting on the back burner all this time. And honestly, your book, Breaking Why, it has been my inspiration to take the time to actually do this. And I don't see myself ever leaving the dealership. I love my dealership. I love my owner group, my dealer group. But on the side, this gives me something fun to actually do. It lets me meet some
Brilliant.
great people. And I'm going to learn a lot during the process. If you're not growing, you're dying. And I'm going to continue to grow. And I think this new community is going to help me do that. Not
Absolutely.
in competition with all the other trainers out there. It's really just
It's just part of your
working
purpose.
together.
You figured out your purpose. You figured out your why is that you want to help people. And one of the best ways
That's
to
where
do
it's
that
at.
is to build a community that's not asking for anything in return. So
There's
I
no
love
money
it.
in it for me. This is just going to be fun.
That's
Just
why it's
like this
going to be great.
podcast. I don't think you're writing me a check for this one, so it's all just
No,
for fun.
no, I'm
I
not
just
writing
like
a
doing
check
it,
for this.
and I enjoy all of our conversations. You are my friend, and I will see you in person, my friend, at NADA,
There you
and
have
I'm
it.
looking forward to it.
Okay, Mike, thanks so much for being on the show. And for all of you out there, tune in next time to Drive You for our next podcast. Looking forward to having all of you on the with us next time we're here. Have a great day and talk to you then.